Hey guys, today I want to share with you one of my favorite pieces, and it's my Braveheart Windlass Claymore replica. One thing I know that you see a lot on my channel is specifically sci-fi, fantasy, that kind of thing. Morphers and lightsabers and you name it. I have a lot of variety of tastes, whether it's superheroes or fantastical elements. But sometimes one thing I think a lot of people get surprised about is specifically that my favorite film is Braveheart. Now I know what you're thinking. If you're a fan of Braveheart, if you're a fan of Scottish history, you know that the movie Braveheart isn't accurate really at all. There's a few nuggets of truth and actual factual events in that film, but overall it is a fantasy. But sometimes having a film like that is still kind of interesting to bring to American audiences, and in my case Canadian audiences, the story of William Wallace, which was a story I didn't really know about until the film came out, and really it carried with it such a deep story with fantastic acting, fantastic score by my favorite composer James Horner, and some other elements that just always make a film great. Now I know it's a fairly divisive film as far as accuracy and portrayal for some people, but for me it is one of my favorite films. It is one of those films that I will sit and watch whenever I'm feeling a certain emotional state and I really want to see it. So one thing that really pulls me into certain films obviously is costume and props, hence this channel. So what brings you to that? And Braveheart really doesn't have a lot in the way of specific period piece or neat items that are kind of a have kind of thing. There's a few, like if you look at Highlander, there's a number of different swords, there's a number of character costumes or garbs going through, but Braveheart was fairly low key. Now I know there's a number of details like the tartan used on Braveheart that isn't quite historically accurate based on timeline, but you had that, sure. But mainly when it came down to what was something that was really exciting that I would want to own, it's the William Wallace Claymore. Now what's really neat about this is that there was an actual physical real William Wallace Claymore, and it's on display. I don't remember 100% correctly if it's the same one or a replication of the one that was used historically. Now when you look at that one, it's nothing the same as the film one. That's one of the weirdest things. It's interesting when you're looking at movie props, especially when it comes to weaponry and swords and whatnot, and that you look at something and you're like, okay, Excalibur. There's a lot of different versions of Excalibur, and you can take what you like. You can make it super fantastical, you can make it really simple. It's up to you, and you can pick your favorite that way, but there's no real world version of that. But William Wallace's Claymore, there is, and there's one to reference. And they looked at that, they took, I don't know, 2 details from it and then just did their own thing, which I also understand because they wanted to stand out, and it ended up becoming such a centerpiece to the film. It had a lot of meaning. It was one of the last shots of the entire thing. It's on all the posters. It's a very iconic sword. Now with that being said is the fact that there are so many replicas of this sword out there, ranging from accuracy, several actual licensed replicas and lots of non-licensed replicas, and all of them had something kind of missing, and there was always just that something wasn't quite right. So I kind of always put off having it. I have a couple other swords I can't wait to show on the channel later in the year, but some of those swords you kind of wait to see what's right and what's wrong. And it was really interesting seeing the details that are so incorrect on other replicas, and that's why I'm really excited about this one. This one came from my girlfriend. It was a little late for Christmas, but it came all the same. It was still a gift all the same, and it is so amazing. And I was really excited to look at this and compare it to the filming prop to see what was the same and not the same. Without going too many details initially, here she is. Now, this is too big to show on this view here. I will show some close-ups, presumably going on while I'm talking about it here. But this sword is by Windlass, and it is one of the most accurate portrayals of this sword. It's not fully accurate. It's missing a lot of details. It has some details idealized, some chunked out, like for instance on the pommel, these cutaways here. It is pear-shaped like the film one. However, it's much more subtle on the film, whether it was worn down in filming or whether it just is a way to kind of accent the details there. Same goes for some of the other details, the leather work, but some things like these little ends of the guard are like really accurate to the actual filming prop, which is really exciting. One thing that's really neat to show off that other replicas tend to get wrong is this bit right here. Now this is there on all of them, but as you can see here in the close-up, there is two sides to this. There is a beat up rough side and a smooth side. Whatever the reason it is, whether it happened because of accident, whether it was beat up just in filming or whatever, this replica actually incorporates both sides, which is fantastic. Also, the type of blade this is fairly similar to the one in the film. It does end a little soon. The real one kind of looks like goes all the way through, as well as just the stitching is a lot neater on this. The real filming prop, which I'll be showing here as well, has really tight or really thick knotwork going on there. So all in all, this is an amazing sword. It's massive. It is a little bit, I'll stand up here, there. It comes up all the way up to my neck here. It's massive, it's huge, it's heavy. I can't really lift it in any room in here, but this is one sword that I put off getting for so many years, and I'm so glad that all that research and talking about it paid off with my girlfriend, finding one of these replicas. Because one thing too is, this movie's far removed now. It's been decades since this was even something that some people may even want to collect, and now she was able to find it, and I'm so happy that this was even available to have. So accurate, fairly accurate to the film version, not at all accurate to the historical version, but it is one of the crowning pieces I have of my collection. I would never I never make a costume for this. I have it sitting up on my wall, it's beautiful. I do have it paired with this scarf. Now this didn't come with any sort of wrapping, like in the film at the end they had the scrap of the tartan wrapped around it, bloodied, but this version didn't come with that, so I did track down the original manufacturer of them for the film. They still make things like scarves, and you can get tartan and all that, but I thought the scarf was really nice. It's a full-length scarf that I just kind of wrapped around. I'll put the link of that in the description as well. Beautiful, beautifully made. It's so nice and just beautiful. The color, tone, everything's perfect. If you guys have any questions about this particular prop, did you like Braveheart? Are you one of those people that are like super movie canon, you have to, or historical canon rather, and have to have the exact item from that, or you're like, no, the movie Braveheart sucks because of this? Like I said, I love the portrayals, I love the music, it's a soundtrack I often listen to regardless. To me, it's just one of those movies that it's a beautiful fiction, and yet still relaying some of the aspects of who William Wallace was. Again, not everything's fictionalized in it, and some of it's actually kind of interesting if you're kind of looking back and forth. It's a great way to introduce people to other historical characters and base, because again, William Wallace was a real person, unlike King Arthur, which we know frightening little about, Robin Hood, etc. This is a real person that existed in our history that deserves to be noticed, and if a movie like Braveheart brings people to understand who it was and then look into it more specifically, all the more power to them. Anyway, like I said, this is a very accurate representation to the film version. Every little detail is there that normally is missed, and I really, really love this. So again, guys, thank you so much for coming with me on this ride. I know this is not the most media prop to talk about. I don't know how people are looking for one of these, but the Windlass one is the one I suggest. But anyway, guys, I look forward to having more videos in the new year, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and we will see you next time.